He is also a member, in addition to this club, Suncoast Toastmasters and Carrollwood Toastmasters. He has helped start several Toastmasters clubs, including HSBC Bank and Hofstra University Graduate School of Business in New York. He was mentor to Direct Insurance Toastmasters when they started a corporate club in 2014. And he's now a mentor for the Top Beverages Toastmasters Club, which is just now being chartered. As Director of Community Relations with Youth and Family Alternatives Incorporated from 2003 to 2013, he had the opportunity to speak to groups, large and small, including appearances on both radio and television. He's been working on this back pocket speech for almost 3 years. This evening he will share his story about preparing to retire and then actually being retired. This is speech 9 from the Competent Communicator Manual, Persuade with Power. The name of the speech is Retirement Reflections. It is 6 to 8 minutes long. Please welcome Jim Simms.
Woo! Well, mentor. Thinking of retiring, it's pretty simple. It would be propitious to have a plan, but it isn't necessarily essential. How many of you are theater goers or theater lovers? All right, a handful. You're down in Tampa. It may be difficult sometimes, but it was a love that I had in New York. My wife and I belonged to several off-Broadway theater groups, including the Roundabout Theater. It's actually one of the few things that I miss about New York. We went to the theater on a fairly regular basis. Before I retired in April of 2013, I had the opportunity to go to a play at the Venue Theater in Pinellas. The title of the play was Ain't Retirement Grand? Terrific preparation for the soon-to-be retirement that I was going on. It was a story of two older couples and how they were navigating retirement and going to early bird specials at like 4 o'clock. And in it, one couple is contemplating what would happen if they both died. What would it be like when their children are there for the final reading of the last will and testament? And so they actually have a song in the second act called We Spent It All on Ourselves. We spent it all on ourselves, down to the very last buck. We spent it all on ourselves, and you're shit out of luck. How would that be? Wouldn't that really be the best of all retirement plans? To leave this world with maybe $1, perhaps $2, but certainly no more than $5. So one of the things I also did was to read a bunch of books because I didn't have this grand plan of retiring. Matter of fact, I decided to retire was about February of 2003. My wife was about to turn 65, and she even said to me, she said, the Pope retired. What's the matter with you? And so then all of a sudden I said, hey, yeah, I can retire. So one of the books I read was Get a Life, You Don't Need $1 Million to Retire Well. And when I thought about it, I didn't have really good retirement role models. I hope that you in your life do have good retirement role models. My dad died 2 weeks before his 66th birthday. And my mother worked for the Social Security Administration, and she got Alzheimer's and actually had alcoholism too. So she was let go from her job. There weren't really those grand plans of people moving down up north and coming down to Florida and doing what I do, like going to the beach 3 or 4 times a week. So I had to learn some of that on my own. But there's special ingredients to being successful in retirement. And what you have to realize too is oftentimes there's that other half. My other half is Tina, and now she has me 24/7, unless she sends me away for a Toastmaster meeting, which I go to pretty frequently. So what are some of the things that I think would work in that plan? I think one is to keep the candle of romance alive. Say I love you and do it often, and also be responsible for your own happiness. And I think that is an important ingredient. Another suggestion that I would have for this retirement success is to make younger friends. couple of weeks ago, we actually went to dinner at the Bonefish Grill with a 30-ish couple, Tina, who's a daughter of my wife's best friend, and her boyfriend, JB. I don't get an idea just a bunch of 30-year-olds, I'm going to start taking you out to dinner. But that was really a great time. And there was a study done in 1988 by the University of Michigan, showed that the greatest predictor of success in retirement was to have a strong social network. I have over 2,500 Facebook friends. I'm not sure if that's what they were talking about. I'm also on Instagram, LinkedIn, and I've been known to tweet now and then. Also, your health. Your health is really, really important. I suggest exercise, and actually as somebody who's overcoming prostate cancer, there's a number of studies being done now to show that exercise can actually eliminate cancer. So I've lost 30 pounds over the last year. Part of that was from my Fitbit exercise tracker, my Acuro Fit heart rate monitor, and just being more conscious of the calories in versus what you burn. I think also embrace life, not money. People who work to improve the world, or at least a little corner of it, seem to maintain a sense of vitality that is missing in those who are intensely self-absorbed. So I don't think buying lots of stuff is something you need to do in retirement or planning for retirement. My message for younger Toastmasters, of whom there are many tonight, in maybe 5 or 10 years away, I would suggest look inward, engage in soul searching. You need to ask, is the inner me well prepared to lead a good last 1/3 of my life? If you're like me, you may be tempted to answer, how the heck would I know? I've never retired before. But it can be about allowing yourself to heal, and I spent 5.5 years in therapy when I lost my job. So there's lots of different ways of finding that inner self and doing soul searching. I never prepared a bucket list, but I have an almost bucket list. Some of the things that I think would be good to do, that some of them I've done. Becoming a Toastmaster area governor, volunteering for Meals on Wheels, and greeting pals. Also, I'm a lector at church. Again, it's not speaking, but it's stage time, stage time, stage time. And also, I work out at the Y a lot. I was actually thinking of engaging a personal trainer. I didn't quite do that yet. And I had a dream the other night about umpiring. And I umpired for a dozen years on Long Island. I went from reading pals and I stopped at the local field at the Tampa Christian Academy, and I watched the game. And then I sent an email. I said, I think I got the bug again. So I'm glad I didn't get rid of all of my expensive equipment, because I'm looking forward to going back to umpiring. Things I might do: meditate, photography, maybe play senior softball, since there isn't a big market for 69-year-old free agent pitchers, and perhaps also to travel more. What's really interesting about that play is the playwright and the pianist was Gil Perlroth. He was born in New Haven, Connecticut, graduated from the University of Connecticut, had a degree from the University of Hartford in music. He did a lot of advertising and commercials, but his heart wasn't there. He actually helped bring to fruition the Princess telephone. Some of the older people know that's where the dial, Sanford knows, and maybe one or two others, where the dial was inside of the phone. And he also worked for Grumman Aircraft. He started playing the piano in bars and writing music, and he moved to Gulfport in 1998. What was interesting is he was playing, he's the playwright, and he was also the pianist that night, 87 years old. So what a lesson in retirement. Retirement doesn't necessarily mean that it's just the end of work. It's the beginning of doing the things you never knew you really wanted to do, and things that you perhaps always loved, such as spending time with your older wife. And there was a quote that said that the love we have, this is by Will Durant, the love we have in our youth is superficial compared to the love that an old man feels for his old wife. Now, my wife is not old, but one day, don't tell her, one day, both of us might be. Mr. Toastmaster.